guess that's the look already. Jeffrey, what's going on this morning, man? How are you?
Oh, just fantastic. It's a beautiful day here in the Napa Valley.
You're such a liar. God dang it. That's right. That's right.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was funny.
Well,
I was just sitting here cracking myself up here because it's just freaking raining again.
yeah, no, that's a little
Sorry.
tough. No, I definitely feel spoiled down here. Glad that I'm not up in Northern California. We've been down here in the desert. I think we pulled the trigger on this house in September of 2013. And it was interesting when we did it. This was really Mai's deal, right? She just loves the desert. She loves the heat. And I was like, and we were coming down here to play a few tournaments every year anyway. And we were kind of getting tired of trying to find rentals during those tournaments. And, we're hauling a couple dogs with us. And, that makes it even tougher. And so finally we got lucky with a place down here. It was a good opportunity. So we bought that, almost 5.5 years ago. Wow. I guess coming up on 6 years. But it's like, and I hate to put this out in the public because it's like, I mean, I just think if you love tennis, and who doesn't?
Yeah.
If you love tennis and you in the wintertime, you're okay with a low of 71 or 72. I mean, a high of 71 or 72. And if you're okay with 10 pristine grass tennis courts and 4 clay and hard courts that I don't even know what they look like anymore because I haven't been on them, except for some tournaments here. And the scenery here with the mountains looking to the west, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the real estate down here is exceptionally reasonably priced. It's not crazy. So I just blew it. You
gave it up. There it is.
Just let the cat out of the bag. Anyway, this to me, and I know Florida's got some great stuff in the winter for people who are, especially if you're retired. My God, it's just how you're not going to do it. But anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. And I just I'm commiserating with you on the sort of. I can only feel, I can only help so many people every day.
It was a fleeting thought.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
All right, hit me. What do you got?
All right, well, before I hit you, and I got a question that you don't know what's coming. We've actually talked about this a few times, but I just want to ask you this one thing about a player that you and I know. And before we do that, guys, Jeff and I are still offering a free complimentary private coaching call.
Yes.
The three of us, this dude, me, and you, we get in a private three-way call, 10 minutes, so it's not social hour, it's not tea time. You got to bring that one thing in your game right now. You're just going, man, guys, if you can help me solve this thing, wow, that would be cool. Because I've been trying to figure this thing out for a while, and I just cannot do it. So that's the reason of this free call. Go to goldballhunting.com, first name, email address. Click the button there below the first name and email. Then click the button. Yeah, that's right.
Click the button.
And you'll get access to our online calendar scheduler, where you get to cherry pick the date and time that works best for you. So, Jeff, the question I've got for you today is about the most prolific national senior champion for the guys, Jimmy Parker.
Yeah.
Okay. Hundreds of national titles. Not like 30 or 40.
No, right.
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
I've got 10, and I feel like, man, it's pretty cool. And then I go to Jimmy, I go, how do you do this? How do you keep, year in and year out? And to get hundreds, you have to win singles and doubles. And throw in a few mixed doubles now and then. So it's one thing, to win a national title, but it's another thing to continue to show up, and I feel like I show up on somewhat of a regular basis, maybe
Right.
one or two nationals a year. I'm not winning these things every time.
Right.
He is. He
Right.
is this bum, this guy. So my question to you, Jeff,
Yeah.
what does Jimmy Parker know that the rest of us don't?
Wow.
See, if you
If
had the
if I,
answer to that,
right. I mean,
you'd be a gazillionaire by now.
if I knew,
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
would
let
I
me ask you this.
actually?
Let me tell you this. What do you think he might know that the rest of us don't know? Okay, let me put it to you like this.
Okay, let's try it again. Okay, coming in sideways here. Side door. Give me something else.
I mean, look, the guy played a little bit of pro tour stuff.
Right.
I think there's a trivia question about him that when tennis went open in 1968, he was the first match at the U.S. Open in 1968.
Really?
I don't recall if he won or lost, but I just know that the trivia question is, who were the first two guys to play the first match of the U.S. Open in '68? Half
Wow.
of that, half the answer is Jimmy Parker. So, but here's a guy, and I don't know much about his junior career. I don't know if he was a great
Right.
junior or college player, but obviously if he played at that level in the tour, he was good, and he
Right.
just kept it going.
Yeah.
He just kept it going. So, and I've seen him lose. I've seen him lose some matches. I saw him in 2009. He lost at the Worlds to Mark Cox. Remember Mark Cox from stout lefty from England?
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was on grass, and Mark Cox had one of those days. And here, Mark Cox played at a high level on the Pro
Right.
Tour, and beat Jimmy pretty good on that day. But other than that,
Right.
and I'm
that's-
I'm trying to talk a little bit so you can figure out what you want to say.
Yeah, I think. Well, what I'm formulating here is that because it's unless you actually crawl around inside between his ears and crawl around there in the gray matter and kind of see it from his vantage point, it's all speculation. But my my guess is this: is that he's played tennis his whole life, like I said, I have no idea what his junior career, if he had one, but obviously, first match on in the Open era at the U.S. Open is significant. So I think, for me, I'm gonna maybe this is kind of an odd angle. I think was he ever a teaching pro?
Not sure. No.
Because sometimes that can actually be a negative. I know for me it's a negative when it comes to movement playing because you're flipping the ball over the net. As much as we try to be good and do the right thing, it's a leg killer and a technique killer because you're swinging the racket primarily not the way you stroke the ball.
Well, the
most
other
of the
thing
day.
too is that you are looking at the student. You're not
Right.
looking at the tennis ball most of the time.
Right. It's a feed. Watch the student pick up the ball just before it hits you in the head, and then hit it back. Right. So given that, I think if that's the case, and maybe not, but I don't know, that there is something to be said when you just get to go to the court and play ball, and that because that's what you get to do that now. You go out to the court and you're playing, and there's a certain we've talked about skill level. There's a certain skill level range that you get to maintain when you're not, let's say, inhibited by the teaching process. You're still in the teaching game. Obviously, we're doing this, in coaching, but it's a little bit different, when you're not one-on-one on the court swinging the racket and doing that. But so I'd say that might be part of it. His longevity, his ability to hit such a beautifully clean ball at this level for so long is is just the pure enjoyment of the game, being able to walk on the court for the pure stinking enjoyment
Yeah.
of loving the game. So I would probably put that up high there at number one. Is that he probably just loves the competition and he loves the game, right?
So then, let's start with some foundational stuff, and that would be number one. I mean, you got to have that. You got to have fitness. You got to have unbelievably efficient stroke technique so that you're not risking injury. Because with the number of national titles he's won, you have to keep showing up at every one of these things, and you got to be able to not. I mean, he did have knee surgery. I think he was like out for maybe 9 months, maybe a couple years ago. But other than that, so to me, it's like you said, a love for the game. There's a fitness component in there. Guy's not carrying around any extra fat at all. No extra baggage. Stroke technique is insanely efficient.
Right.
His movement is efficient.
Right.
And obviously he's played so much that now he's got experience to know when I play. And and to me sometimes experience is based on my own skill level. I know what I can or can't do in this situation. Right. So I'm not going to think, well, I have to go hit something that I can't do, make a mistake. So
don't need to reach into the toolbox for a tool you're not familiar with or one that you don't even have.
And I think he's got, like I said, so much experience that he can, especially against a new guy, he can quickly size up this player and realize on this shot here, this is where I can hurt him the most. Right. But I think there's something else going on, and it's obviously a mental component where think about a guy who wins that much. Do you think there's a big old target on his chest, on his back, where guys are trying to take him down knowing that, hey, at some point I can say, man, I beat Jimmy Parker.
Right. Oh, for sure. That's.
So wouldn't that kind of tighten up someone? No, I'm not talking about his opponent. I mean, wouldn't that tighten up someone who's that good of thinking, God dang it, I don't, this could be a bad loss here today. Of course, against him, anyone's a bad loss because he's winning all the time. So,
that's an interesting edge on it. I'm going to circle back, and first I agree with you that he's had the longevity in the game and experience in the game to distill his strokes down to things that are very efficient. I'm going to guess the way he hits the ball today is not exactly the way he started out in that first match at the U.S. Open. Probably similar, but I'm going to say there's probably been some modifications and some, like you said, efficiency adjustments along the way.
Yeah.
And so that's a beautiful thing to be able to be in the game that long, to consistently be able to, tweak and adjust according to what the needs are at the moment and how do I stay in the game longer, right? So that's a beautiful thing, I think. And then, you've gone through phases like this. I've gone through phases like this. Pros go through phases where you become accustomed and you've become accustomed to winning. And so, yes, you can, on the one hand, you can say the pressure of having the target on your back all the time. And I think that's more of when you're starting to win a lot. You feel that, I think, at the front end of that, because it's uncharted waters. You're not used to winning so much. And now it's kind of happening regularly. You're gaining confidence. You're winning more, and then next thing you know, you finish the year at number one, or you've had a great year, and now you've jumped X amount of ranking points, and you've actually won a few events. And then maybe the beginning of the next year, you still have a little bit of apprehension, anxiety, because now you got to beat all these guys again. But let's say you do, and now there's a habit there in your own mind, mentally, that you have a mental. As long as you keep doing the work, you do have a mental expectation, but a mental fortitude that you walk out to the court owning the court mentally, emotionally. You walk out to the court kind of like, no, I'm going to win. It's like a knowing. I'm going to win. And it's very hard to explain. I'm not explaining it well, I'm sure, but I've had those moments myself in my career where I've just been, in this wave of level of play where even having a rough match, losing a first set badly, being down in the second set, but never feeling like, still kind of feeling in my head, I'm going to win the match, and ultimately winning the match. Seeing that moment when the guy across the net actually cracks, and knowing it's like he's up, and you can almost sense he's still not sure he's going to win the match, even though he just clocked you 6-1 in the first set, and he's up 4-1 in the second, and there it is. But he's not sure he's going to win. But when you're in this kind of role, you know you're still going to win, and so you don't panic. You don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I hope it's kind of a wordy explanation, but
I think that would be the answer to the question, which is, what does he know that the rest of us don't know? And I think the way you described it is that he's won so much, and it's not like he's won so much 2-1 every time.
No.
He's won a boatload of matches where he loses a set and might go down a break. Or in the first set, the guy he's playing against is going, I got nothing to lose here.
Right.
And just lets it go, and he can't miss, and there's a couple of lucky let chords in there, and the next thing you know is the guy's serving at 5, not Jimmy, but the other guy's serving 2 breaks, 5-2 in the first. And I think the thing that Jimmy knows is that the scoring system in tennis is such that a 5-2 2-break up lead doesn't mean anything. It might mean, well, I guess we got to go to 3 today. I guess we're playing 3 sets today. But
pack a lunch.
Yeah, and so it's that realization that there's no panic. There's no panic, and I think there's also the acceptance that, look, there's going to be a day once in a while, in his case, more often for us, but once in a while in his case, where someone else just has a day. There's nothing he can really do about it. Right. And I don't see where he has this, where he puts pressure on himself to feel like, well, I can't have a bad loss. As opposed to, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The scoring system's the way it is. I still maybe hey, this guy played incredible. Okay.
Right.
So it just, but it's just part of the deal. I think I was watching Tennis Channel last night, or maybe it was a couple of days ago, and they were talking about how the top players now, especially in the women's side, everyone's getting beat. Everyone's getting beat right and left. And there was an interview they did with someone where she said, yeah, it's just not that big deal anymore. It's going to happen. There's kind of enough parity where it's just going to happen. And I thought, okay, that seems like a little like, I am making $4 million a year, so sort of my motivation about caring that much is gone.
Right.
I don't think Rafa feels that.
No.
But anyway, so I guess that's a little off course here.
Well, I think, ultimately, I think winning can become a habit. And the nature of winning, I believe, is a habit. There's you hit a certain stride on the court, you conduct yourself a certain way, you maintain a certain emotional even keel, and there's a flow to it. You can catch a wave in it, and that wave can last a year in that process, or longer, depending. And obviously Jimmy has found that current for him. And, his winning now is a habit. And so he gets out there, and he's got nothing to prove. He's got nothing to.
Well, look, and I think another answer to the question, what does he know that we don't know, is I know several guys who've watched him on video, and they go,
I've watched him play.
What's the big deal?
Right.
This guy can't break an egg, and I'm just going, okay, all right, let's, maybe you'll want you enter the tournament, and
Yeah, good.
you'll feel that it's a little different than that.
Right. Good
But
luck with that.
to me, the answer could be he just doesn't miss a freaking ball. He does not miss. And he's not obviously, if you watch him play on video, he's not knocking you off the court.
No.
He's not. I mean, he's got a ridiculously consistently deep first serve, but that's all it is. It's deep. It's not heavy. It's just in. It's in all the time.
Yeah. I think in terms on the technical side of what's actually happening, he's created this this kind of expectation, I think, from his opponents, because now everyone's trying to figure out, how to beat Jimmy. We've all sat at that table, in the lounge at these events, and the guys are, all in their curmudgeon, grumbling,
Well, they all got their slide rulers out, and they got their little abacus out with the beads.
I think probably the most, and because I've watched him play, and I've watched some of the videos of some of his national titles, and I think more than anything, he, whether intentional or not, I think it's just part of his legend. It's part of his persona. It's part of who he is. The guys that play him think they have to do a little bit more than they're comfortable with.
That's right. That's right.
And if I know that, when I play guys, if I can, as a tactic, if I can get them out on the edge a little bit, make them feel like they got to do a little bit more with that pass, hit the ball a little bit heavier than they're normally comfortable with. If I can get a guy to live in that space, I'm going to pick up those extra points here and there, and especially if it's a tight match, pick up those points at the crucial points, the break point for set or match point, whatever those things are that actually open up the match for you. But I think that's probably, when I watch it, that would be my thing, is that I think he puts the player actually puts themselves in this position that they think they got to do more than they do.
Yeah, no, there's and now what's happening with that player is that they've taken themselves out of, well, here are my controllables.
Right. Now they're
and when they come up with these goofy strategies of how to beat Jimmy Parker or someone who's really good, it's like you've just devised a strategy that's completely out of your toolbox. You have no ability to control the shots necessary for that strategy.
Yeah, you just came up with 6 items, 2 of which are the only 2 items in your bag.
Yeah. So, well, look, I mean, I don't think there's really a strategy other than because he does not have a major weapon in terms of being able to blow you off the court. Other than he can put the ball on a dime, he'll put the ball somewhere that'll jerk you around the court. And now if you give him too much pace in response, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Because he is going to take away your time to get back in the middle, and he'll feather another one over there. And the next thing you know is you come off the court scratching your head. You got beat 0-1, and you go, but I sure felt like I was in the match.
Right. Felt like I was doing something.
From my vantage point, I didn't have the same feeling watching him play. So I don't know. I think it'd be funny to kind of get Jimmy's response to this episode. He might say, "You guys are so full of horse crap. Here's the one thing I know that no one else does, and it's I eat 2 oranges and a cucumber before every match." Oh, okay.
That's it.
That's it, man. What are we doing wasting our time with this stuff?
Right.
So, all right. Well, listen, good stuff, Jeff. As always, thanks, man. Guys, we're going to shut this episode down, but before we do that, a reminder, 10-minute free coaching call. It's private. The 3 of us, you, me, and Jeff, we get in a 3-way call, and we chat about the one thing in your game right now that is a little ouch.
Iffy.
Yeah.
It's a little iffy.
Got to get that thing figured out. We want to help set you in the path to get the result that you want. The way to get on that call is to go over to goalballhunting.com. first name, email address, and then click the button, whatever that button says, and you'll get immediate access to our online calendar scheduler where you get to cherry pick a date and time that works best for you. Jeffrey?
Yes.
This is your moment in the sun every episode right here, right now.
I wish it was in the sun.
I mean, this is your moment in the, well.
Please like us, share us. Please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below.
And in Jeff's case, please also.
I'm isolated here. I'm stuck. It's raining.
No.
I can't get out.
He needs something to do, so he needs comments down there. And maybe a fifth thing would be is just pray for some sun up there in Napa Valley.
Yeah.
Guys, again, thanks for hanging out. Get out there today, wherever it is, rain or shine. Help someone else have a great day. Jeff, we'll do this again tomorrow.
I can't wait.